You're tuned in to Tailgate Talk, where the grill is hot, the drinks are cold, and the sports stories never stop. Hosted by DB Cooper and Itty Bitty Ute, and produced by Hollywood. Grab a plate, pull up a chair, and let's get this tailgate started.
She walks in and goes, "That's not a duck."
Oh, shoot.
Today on Tailgate Talk, we have a great guest joining us. He's a guy who knows all things about grit, determination, and making the most of every opportunity. After starting his journey at a junior college, he made his way to the University of Utah, where he switched positions, fought his way up the depth chart, and became a key part at one of the toughest defenses in the country. As a senior, he started for 10 games at cornerback, racking up tackles, breakups, and big-time plays in clutch moments. From there, he went on to the NFL with the Ravens and the Jags, and most recently won a USFL championship with the Birmingham Stallions. Please welcome our Utah man, Josh Nurse, to the tailgate. Josh,
Let's go.
Thanks for
Appreciate
joining the
y'all for having
podcast.
me, man. Thank you.
I want to start off by asking, first, any of those facts incorrect that we need to clarify there?
No, those are all correct.
Okay, cool.
Pretty good.
Well, what's going on? What's going on with you, Josh? Fill us in. Where are we at right now?
I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia, or Fayetteville, Georgia, visiting my mom. But I live in Germany with my girlfriend. She's in the Air Force, stationed out there, training kids, giving back to the youth. The same way that people used to give back to me when I was younger. Just passing it along.
I love it. Is there what type of giving back to the youth are you doing? Are you coaching ball over there?
Not necessarily coaching, but I do train kids in terms of like position specific, like sports training or anything like that. So I train kids from anywhere from basketball to football, kind of the basics that I can specialize in. I can't coach, kids in track or anything like that because that requires a little bit more, credentials.
What about soccer? Is soccer? I'm assuming soccer's pretty
Soccer,
big there.
so I know because honestly, like I used to do soccer drills for footwork purposes at defensive back. So I do implement some soccer drills in some of the drills that I have kids do, but I don't necessarily train a kid that plays soccer right now. At least I'd be open to it for sure. I think I could figure out something to get them moving right and get their feet and hand-eye coordination right. But as of right now, I don't train anybody that plays soccer.
That actually makes sense to me. I don't know if a German came over to America. I don't know if he would start training, cornerbacks right away. But
Actually,
goes over to Germany. I don't know if we're training.
Well, he wasn't German. He was from France. But I played in the CFL with this guy. He was French. His name was Maceo, and I think his last name was Beard or something like that. But he was pretty good. He was real good. Yeah, he was nice. He was nice. I'm like, he from France? Like, I'm like, okay, is he like from France and he like went to school or went to college in America? No, he was from France. Like, bonjour. Like, he spoke real French. So I was like, oh wow, that was crazy. But he got picked up in some like global draft that the team had.
Okay, well, it's a global game. The game's growing and getting worldwide. I got one more follow-up question because I didn't know you were in Germany. Maybe you covered this prior, but what's your favorite thing about Germany and your least favorite thing about Germany?
My least favorite thing, I'm gonna start with least. My least favorite thing about Germany is everything is old. Like really old. I would say
Like Hollywood.
Yeah, like it's like
Our tech guy.
It's really, really old. But I would say my favorite thing about Germany so far, it'd probably have to be the Autobahn. I like the Autobahn. You get from point A to point B real quick.
Fastest speed you've touched?
Well, it's in kilometers out there, but I probably have to say.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can see. Well, even though there's no speed limit, you can't like. There's still like guidelines. So say like you can't be You can't go like 170 or nothing
Oh,
like
really?
that. But
I honestly thought it was
you
just like free
can,
range.
you can. It just there's certain sectors of the autobahn where you can do that, and then there's certain parts where you can't. So that's why it's
So,
like
all right. So, top kilometer speed that you've hit.
200.
So,
That's all
125
I can
miles an
remember.
hour.
That's not bad.
125 miles an hour. That's not bad.
That's up there.
Yeah. That's not bad.
It's respectable.
Yeah, because in another country, respect their rules. Push it a little bit, but respect their rules.
How's the food out there?
The food is okay. If I had to rank it like 1 out of 10, I would give it like 6.5. 6.5, six
What
and a half.
What's the food you miss the most?
Bojangles. Y'all know what
I
Bojangles
love
is?
Bojangles.
I don't even know what
Yeah,
Bojangles is.
yeah, Bojangles. I love me some. I've been eating Bojangles since I can remember. My grandma used to always take me to get it when I used to live in South Carolina, and they ended up building one by my house, by my mom's house in Georgia. And Bojangles, and American Deli as well. They got some really good wings.
This segment of the podcast brought to you by Bojangles.
Yeah, let's get an ad segment in there. As much as I love talking about Germany and food, Josh, I would love to ask you some ball questions. I'll just
Yeah, let's
hop
get
right into
into it.
what mine was. Obviously, we're a bunch of average fans, and we love the game, and I feel like the three of us know the game decently well. But like when it comes to a Morgan Scally defense, what's the hardest
hmm
thing that the average fan wouldn't understand is so hard about understanding his defense? Does that make sense?
Every single play he calls from the start of the game to the very finish of the game it's like a calculated risk. Like, but I swear he's the best defensive coordinator I've ever been blessed to be able to be coached by or anything like that, because like throughout the course of the game when he makes his calls, some things work, some things don't. Obviously the offense, they're on scholarship too. That's what we always used to say is like, it's competition. But
Sure,
the amount of success that his plays has and how consistent he is, you know what I mean? How he's been over the years is just like you said, like we talked about earlier, like his obsession with perfection in the defense. Like every play, like I would probably say that every play that he runs is calculated. It's all calculated. So if he runs a play and it looks like that person just missed the quarterback and they almost made the play, like that's him drawing that up for sure.
sure.
He's
So
definitely a genius when it comes to just X's and O's and figuring out defenses and figuring out offenses and ways to attack them. But Scally
there,
is different, man.
that's good. That's good to hear. I mean, obviously, I have. I mean, I watched Scally as a player, right? So I've
hmm
seen his whole career and followed closely. There's this theory floating around on Twitter today. I don't know if you've been on X much over there, but or I guess you're in Georgia. But there's this theory that Utah is going to be hurt by the not being able to steal signs from the opposing offense with the new microphones in the helmets. Do you take anything into that, or do you think Scally's above that?
Oh no, Scally I guarantee he already has that figured out. They probably had that figured out the day before they banned that. That's how they operate. Cause trust me, listen, when I was there, the stuff that they made us study is insane. I'm like, I would have never even thought to even look for this. And then once you implement that to your game, it's honestly pretty crazy. It's honestly
Oh,
like some sort of like a voodoo the way he's able to see it and point it out and implement it into it's crazy. I wish I could see him in the war room just draw everything up. It's like
I
watching a
can't.
master at work.
I can't even imagine. I hope you soaked up all those moments. That's so sick. I can't
hmm
even imagine what that's like.
So he was an X and O genius. Was he a hype guy, or and kind of talk to us like who was the hype coaches? Who got you guys going in the locker room before the games?
Good
I wouldn't
question.
even say any. Honestly, I wouldn't say any of them were hype. Like Coach Witt always had this thing where he's like, respect the way everyone prepares. So like when I was there, normally if you think of a locker room before a game, there's loud music playing, people kind of, getting in the mode. Utah wasn't like that. He didn't let people play music out loud. He was like, you can listen to music in your headphones, but you got to respect the way that everybody else prepares differently. So some people would be sitting there quiet. Some people wouldn't have music at all. You got people that's getting hype. You got the little section of the locker room that's getting hype. There's some people, but everybody prepared for the game in their own way. And Coach Witt, he made that a staple point. Like we used to always ask him, like, can we bring a speaker into the locker room? He's like, nope. Got to respect how people prepare for the game. And then at first, I didn't like it. Honestly, I didn't like it. I'm like, nah, like everybody got to be hyped. The energy got to be right. But it worked. Like everybody was somehow ready to go for the most part. For the games that we would win or the years we were really good. But it's like, I don't know. The formula they have it's definitely a hard one to buy into. Actually, it's not hard to buy into. Let me rephrase that. But it's worth it. It's worth it.
Is there anything from a preparatory standpoint that you miss not being there anymore?
Yeah, I miss the feeling of being locked in. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people that would lock in, you think of locking in, like they think of, all right, it's the day of the game. I'm locked in. Like, no. With Utah, it started 2 or 3 days before the game. Like even like during like walkthroughs on Friday, we would only be out there for like an hour. But Coach Scally would always tell us like, lock in for an hour. Like you can lock in for an hour, and then you can laugh, joke, whatever on the bus on the way to the plane or whatever. But while we're out there on the field, even though we're not doing anything, full speed, everything's half speed, walking speed, be locked in. Cause some people would be like, talking, joking, and laughing. He didn't like that. He wanted people to be locked in until the clock hit 0 on Saturday night. So I miss that the most. Cause like the preparation, like the result that we would get, especially the 2019, the year we was really good. Like just knowing how hard we prepared and how locked in we were, and then to see the results from that was what I missed the most about Utah.
So
Especially, I had Julian, Jalen Johnson. You got other like-minded people doing the same thing. Man, it's an unbeatable feeling.
you played with some dogs. You bring up the 19 defense. I want to talk about that. I don't know if you soak it in enough. Maybe you do, but you were a starter on arguably Utah's greatest defense of all time. We've had some amazing defenses. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
going into the season you knew that defense was going to be nasty, but was there a point in the season where you realized your defense wasn't just nasty, you guys were elite?
So we played BYU first that year. And that was the game Zach was saying he was going to change his number to whatever, how many times they was going to beat us, something like that. Then we had 2 pick-sixes, and I was like, but I feel like that's not when I realized it, though, because I feel like that was expected of us. When I realized we was, like, really a problem, I think it's when we played Washington State, because, Washington State, they passed the ball all game long. I used to actually not like that game because the game was longer than a traditional football game because, you throw the ball, clock stops. But we played them, and I think they only scored like, I don't know, it was either 10 or 17 points or something like that. But the amount of points that they scored didn't reflect how the game went.
Yeah.
For them to be a pass and attack team, and we played nothing but straight man coverage that whole game. And that's when I was like, okay, we could play a game against a passing team, man coverage the entire game. Yeah, we're gonna be a problem.
That was first game of the season, 30-12, a win for the
30 to
Ute.
12. Mm-hmm.
And you were
Remember that
playing
game
kick
like it was
return.
yesterday.
You were back for kick return that game.
Yeah,
No yards, but you were back there.
yeah. So I was, catching them in practice, and the ones I caught in practice, I was getting loose a little bit, so they decided to throw me back there. It's funny because that game, I think they kicked like what they call them, a sky kick, and the ball landed literally like half a yard away from being out of bounds. What I should have did was get out of bounds first and then touch the ball, but I thought the ball was gonna roll out of bounds, but I ended up trying to scoop it up and trying to get extra yards, but I didn't get no yards.
Yeah,
I got
I
tackled as soon
remember.
as I picked up the ball. As soon as I picked up the ball, I got swarmed by like 5 people. I was like, knew it.
I remember that one. Did you have a game that season that you enjoyed the most, more than others?
Uh, got a few, but I think the game I enjoyed the most, I don't know, between Arizona State and between Arizona, pretty fun.
I think we shut him out. I think it was 35-0 that game.
Yeah,
And
that game was fun.
yeah, and
I,
Heisman winner Jaden Daniels, rookie of the year, you guys shut him down.
yeah, that game was. I think I got to go with Arizona State because Arizona State was talking trash that week. One of their receivers was saying like, "Oh yeah, we know they play a lot of man coverage. We're gonna take them up top." It's funny because that week, we talk about preparation. Coach Scally gathered the whole defense in the auditorium. They cut the lights off. They bring down the projector screen, and he plays the clip of the guy doing the interview saying like, "Yeah, we know, we got the best running back in Benjamin. We like him against their D line and their linebackers, and we like us against their corners because we know they play a lot of man coverage. So we plan on taking them up top a lot this game." And then like he ended the clip, he turned the lights back on. He said, "Everybody be on the field in 20 minutes." And nobody, the room was quiet. You could hear a pin drop, but everybody, it was kind of like it was like an energy in the room. Like, okay,
That's so sick. So
this is
Utah really
this is
does do
what's going on
bulletin
this
board
week.
material.
Yeah, we were that in sync. Like nobody said a word. Everybody knew what he meant by showing us that. Go get dressed. Let's get to it.
And you guys held them to 3 points that game.
3 points. I always look at those numbers because people's like, especially with Jaden Daniels now, like, I actually like the fact that I knew he was going to be good. And I remember telling him this after the game because I knew he had potential, like, based off of, like, it's just that there's nothing he could do with us as a freshman. You know what I mean? Like, but I knew he was going to be good. So to see his success now, and then I look back at that game, I'm like, man, that's how like, we was really a problem.
Yeah.
He went to the NFC Championship as a rookie.
Yeah.
As a rookie.
So that kind of leads to a question that I've got. So, and I think the University of Utah and Kyle Whittingham has got such a good reputation for taking athletes that play different positions and getting them to switch to play defense and then preparing them to be high enough defensive players to go on to play in the NFL. What was that switch like for you going from wide receiver to then switching to the defensive side of the ball? Walk us through kind of what that experience was like for you.
It was honestly the most difficult, it was the most life changing, but and difficult like thing I've ever had to do, like ever, because prior to Utah, prior in my football career, period, I'd never played defense in any capacity, like ever, never, like never. A lot of people, play Pee Wee. They may play every position when they're younger. I never played. I played wide receiver strictly, all the way up until I got to Utah. So for them to switch my position, I was like, I don't know how to play defense. I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. I don't know defensive concepts like that. Anything. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I was thinking about transferring from Utah the whole nine because I'm like, I don't know anything about defense. Why do they want me to play defense? But I remember talking to my mom and my dad, and they was like, pray about it. It was like, you athletic, you smart, you willing to learn, and I'm pretty sure you can get it down pat. Why not just give it a try? So I remember Coach Shaw coming to me. He was like, who do you hang out with the most? And I don't know if you guys remember Corian Ballard, but he played safety at Utah. But I went to Blinn College with him. So I hung out with him at Utah a lot because, we both went to the same junior college. And I was like, I hang out with Corian. And it was like, look, here's the deal. The offense said they have no use for you. They say you're buried at the bottom of the depth chart, but we feel like we could have use for you because you're 6'3", you're fast, you're long, and you're lengthy. Like, we could figure out a way to use you. They was like, what do you feel more comfortable with, playing safety or corner? And I should have said corner, But I said safety first. But I'm actually glad that I said safety first because my first year at Utah is when I played safety, and I hated safety because I had no understanding that the safety is basically the quarterback of the defense. But being under Scally and being under such a genius like him, I got to learn, the cerebral part of the game from a safety standpoint. So then when I moved to corner in 2018, I could see everything like a safety sees it, but I'm just playing at the corner position. So it made it that much easier. And then that I knew what was coming. I knew formations at any angle on the field because from playing safety in my time with Scally. And then once I got the corner, everything just slowed down that much more for me. And then when it came to press man or press coverage or stuff like that, it's like playing basketball. That's how I treated it. And I was just like, once I simplified it that way, that's when I stepped into that role, and I knew I was like, okay, now I'm starting to play more, and then eventually moving into the starting role. But it was the best. That making that decision to go from offense to defense was like a scary decision, but it turned out to be the best decision I ever made in my life because I ended up going to the NFL to play defensive back. You know what I mean? So I always knew I would get to the NFL, but I never envisioned that I would be playing defensive back in the NFL. So
Yeah.
crazy, yeah, it's really crazy.
That's actually shocking to me that you didn't play both ways growing up. I would have figured every
Yeah,
athlete out there in a
yeah.
P5 D1
I
starting
wanted to
athlete
be
would
the
play
next
both
Randy
ways growing up.
Moss. I was training. I'm talking about I trained with my uncle all the time. Like I did nothing but receive. It would be
Wow.
times, especially like when I went to junior college in 2015, I used to run routes until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on some random field. I figured out how to open the little lockbox where they keep the light switches on. And the little park marshal used to come kick us off the field and stuff like that. But I never did anything. Like I never played around with defensive back or nothing. It was just always straight receiver. So when it was like, yeah, you got to move to defense, I'm like, defense? I don't know how I feel about that. Like I had to go back home and like sleep on it and like kind of like make a decision. Like, do I really want to stay at Utah? And I loved Utah because like the way I ended up at Utah was like I really didn't plan on visiting Utah. I had a layover because I was visiting Boise State. And mind you, I spent the whole weekend in Boise State. And then I called Coach Scally and I was like, I got a 4-hour layover in Utah. He was like, all right, I'm sending someone to come pick you up right now. I
Wow.
saw Utah for 1 hour. And I said, yeah, I'm committing. I'm coming here.
Wow.
I said, I'm
Holy
coming here.
cow.
That's
And
amazing.
I had offers from Georgia, Iowa State, Boise State, a couple of other smaller like D2 schools, UTSA, Texas State, schools
That's
like that.
unbelievable.
But I knew within an hour of just being at Utah. I saw the weight room, I saw the facility, and I think I saw the campus like a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I'm coming here. It's like no
That was going to
brainer.
be one of my other questions was growing up in Georgia, how much did you know about Utah? Were you familiar with the program? I mean, they had been BCS busters and kind of on the
Hmm.
map a little bit, but Bulldogs, I'm assuming were
Yeah,
big for you. So,
yeah,
how much
yeah.
to the U did you know before?
So growing up in Georgia, prior to that, like the only time I knew about Utah, I remember watching ESPN. I think it was 2009 or 2010, one of those years, and they were ranked number 5. And I just remember seeing it on the college football like little rankings, BCS rankings, and then they played Alabama and they beat the brakes off Alabama, and I'm like, Utah beat Alabama. And from that day forward, I knew who Utah was. But still, at the time, growing up in the South, you don't ever think you're going to end up in Utah. So when I ended up in Utah, I'm like, wow, I'm really in Utah. From Georgia to Texas to Utah. It was just
You
baffling. It was just crazy to me.
yeah, that had to be a complete culture change and shift, I imagine. You
Yeah.
bring up the 2018 beating Alabama. We're talking about transitioning from offense to defense. I'm curious, that 2008 team had a corner that transitioned over from wide receiver named Sean Smith, built just like you. Did they
Ah.
ever sell you on trying to be the next Sean Smith?
Nah, they never sold me that, but I think what they tried to sell me was somebody more recent, which ended up being Brian Allen. Because
Yeah,
they
good one.
he was the same height. I actually ended up playing with him on Birmingham the year we won the championship. But same height, same build, same type of guy. I would say me and him are different in the aspect of from like zone coverage to man coverage type deal, but similar build. So that's what they would always try and say, like, or have me watch film on. But I watch film on everybody. I watched Sean's film. I watched Keith McGill's film. I watched everybody's film.
You're throwing out some names right there. Those are some.
Yeah. I know a little something about Utah now.
I love that. Itty bitty, do you have anything more ball related?
I think one of the kind of the smaller questions that I have is you read 14 at Utah. Is there a reason for that number? Kind of walk us through that.
I think so. When I moved to safety, they didn't have a number for me. Like they had no numbers at all. So I was just at practice with just like a black jersey, no number, just running around out there. So then finally, like when some numbers opened up, I think they had when numbers opened up. I know y'all remember Bradley Anai, but he went from 56 to number 6. So 6 and 14 were the choices. And I remember Bradley asked me, he was like, I was thinking about getting 6, and I'm like, 6 doesn't look like me though. You know what I mean? Like the number 14, like when you looked at me, it's like, okay, that number fits him. Like it looks like it's right on him. So I don't know what made me choose 14, but I just chose 14 because I felt like when I put the jersey on, I'm like, okay, this just feels right. And I felt like it was like more signature for me,
14. I mean, that's a clean number, but like I don't know a lot of 14s, so it's kind of nice to
Yeah.
make your own name and number with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question. So, have you ever been to? We're a tailgate podcast, obviously. Have you ever been to a
Mm-hmm.
football tailgate?
So I went to my first tailgate last year at the BYU game. I can't remember whose people tailgate I went to, but
Sure.
it was nice. I had fun. That was the first tailgate ever, and I as a player from Utah, or especially when we do the Ute walk, seeing the
Yeah.
tailgate, as we pulling up, it's always I've always looked at it from that perspective. So to actually be a part of it was pretty cool. It made me love Utah even more. Like I just loved it so much.
Now every tailgate operates different. The way that ours works is
Mm-hmm.
we always have a grill. So we tell people when they show it's an open invite. Anyone that wants to come to our tailgate, we have the grill. Bring your own meat and your own drink. That's all we ask. So
Mm-hmm.
if you showed up to our tailgate, what meat and what drink would you make sure to have in hand?
Does it have to be beef?
Whatever you want to grill or not
Because
grill.
I'm gonna bring some wild caught salmon. That's what I'm gonna cook on the grill. Yeah, I'm gonna
Hey,
bring some
you're
wild
gonna
caught
grill the
salmon.
salmon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna grill the salmon, and for the drink, I go Arnold Palmer.
Hey, and Arnie Palmy.
Let's go.
Put on Arnold
Yeah.
Let's
Palmer.
go.
Let me just tell you, you're invited to the tailgate whenever you want. Whenever you want. Arnie Palmies and salmon.
Plays because I'm gonna come to a game this year. I don't know which one yet, but I always make it a staple point now to like come to at least one game once a year, a home game, because gotta rep the youth at home. Okay.
Little birdie told me you're good at impressions. What's the
Where
story
y'all getting
behind
this
that?
information?
We do our research on the Tailgate podcast.
Oh man. Yeah, I used to do so I did drama when I was in sixth and seventh grade. So that required, mimicking people, doing all type of stuff like that. So I got really good at impressions, when I was at like a young age. So I was like always kind of done them with people. But so a couple of reporters found out I did them at Utah, and they used to ask me to mimic Coach Scally. And it used to be so funny. The team used to make me do it too. The team used to
I
make
feel
me do
like
everybody.
I feel like I got to put you on the spot, man. Can we get one?
I don't know. It's been so long. I don't even know who I can. I can't do Coach Shaw. He always screaming at us, yelling and screaming. He always coaches, and I'm in the house, so I can't. I'm trying to think who could I do. I can't
It's
think
all
of
good. It's
anybody.
all good.
I'm gonna think of one though. I'm gonna think of one though. I'm gonna think of one, and then we on another episode. I'm gonna just bring it up and I'm gonna do it.
All right.
I might do it out of the blue, but I'm gonna think of one. I'm gonna think of
Okay.
one, and I'm gonna practice it for y'all.
Talk to us about the fans. Talk to us about playing in front of the Muss. We're up there mid level to the nosebleeds, and so like it seems loud to us. But talk to us about in game
I love the
experiences.
must from the top to the bottom. I one thing I miss is like being on the field on like third down or something, right? And you know how it's getting riled up and it's getting amped up, and the team running on the field. I remember just looking at the entire must just go crazy. And I'm like, yeah, we got to make a play right here because I want to see the must go stupid. I want to see them go crazy. The must, yeah, the must is the fans at Utah. Like, and that's another thing too that I didn't really have a good understanding of before I came to Utah was that the fans are so loyal there. You know what I mean? Because Utah doesn't have like a professional football team or anything, so it's like the Utes are like the heart and soul, and I love that about Utah so much because like the hospitality, and that's another like part of the reason why I chose Utah too is like the hospitality there. It felt like a home away from home. You know what I mean? With the coaching staff, the players, the fans in the city. Like Salt Lake is a nice place. Like it's so much more different than Georgia, so it had something different to appreciate about that, and the fans add to that.
I love that. I love that you had a good experience. We love to, it truly is a family, and
Hmm.
that's at least what's preached. And as a fan, I
Yeah,
love to think that it's family and
yeah.
take care of our own. I appreciate you coming up and joining us on the podcast for a little bit. Do you guys have any other?
I've got one, and I'll this will be the last one that I've got. But so we talked about you getting to know the University of Utah. For someone who grew up outside of the state
Hmm.
that was not maybe familiar with the Holy War, what was the Holy War like for you? Especially in 19, that was your first game. How long did it take you to get into that rivalry? Did you ever get into that rivalry, and what was that like for you?
Oh yeah, the Holy War was an eye-opening experience. I had no idea. I always knew who, not always, but I knew who BYU was, and I knew who Utah was, but I had no idea that the rivalry was that intense. So my first year at Utah in 17, we played at BYU, and I think it was the second game of the season. Yeah, because we played North Dakota first, and then I was on kickoff return, and I was a left center, and I was a starting left center. So I think we lost the coin flip, and they opted to kick to us, and it was so loud. It was so loud, like I couldn't hear the other player trying to communicate to me like what the kickoff team was doing. It was so loud, like I couldn't hear anything, and I'm like, this is a real college football rivalry game. Like like I remember going back to the sideline, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like this is like every play, like the ups and downs, especially when BYU would score or we would score. Like it was the energy from the rivalry. You could feel that. You could feel that in each year, especially the 2018 year. I think that was the year. That game. I don't think anything. That's my favorite game of all time as a player at Utah.
What made it your favorite?
Well, I ended up getting hurt in the first quarter of that game. Something happened with my ankle. I think I like sprained my ankle or something. But I remember what made it my favorite was halftime. We were getting just completely destroyed by BYU, and most of the time, coaches will give you like, come on guys, let's fight. Coach Witt didn't give us that type of pep talk. He was pissed, and I mean he was pissed. He's like, what was that? Y'all got like he's like, there's no heart. Everything. He's like, if y'all want to win this game, y'all better figure it out. And he walked off. And like I was saying before, nobody said a word. Nobody said anything. Everybody just put their heads down. And we came out there that second half, and everything was firing on all cylinders. It was just impossible. We couldn't miss. And just being a witness to that, because I was hurt, but just being a witness to that and watching the sequence of events the second half and to come back and win that game. And then the magnitude of it, because it's the Holy War, it's the rival game at that. And, the trash talking in the first half. And yeah, that it makes it number one.
And you never lost to BYU in your career.
Never lost to BYU 3-0.
Love it.
3-0.
What was the toughest environment you played in? Toughest stadium?
uh, Toughest stadium. It probably had to be Oregon or UW. Probably UW. I think UW. I played at UW twice, and both times it was tough. First year we lost by a field goal, and then the second time we played them there was when we came back and won. But that game we had to fight for that win in 2019.
Bro, that's one of my all-time favorites. That Jalen Johnson.
I like that game too. I like that game because it showed our resiliency when we got down early and whatnot. But that game right there that's a sleeper. That's one of my sleepers.
That was a great game. Great second half. The first half was horrible.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, man. I was gonna say that DBs, you guys were stacked. You had JJ, Ballard, Guidry was on that list too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that led right into future safety starting for us. I mean, that was a stacked room.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Marquise Blair.
Yep.
One of the baddest
Yeah,
dudes
we had
ever.
a lot. Yeah, I tell people about him to this day. To this day.
He's one I thought getting drafted by the Seahawks would have been such a perfect fit. He just struggled to stay healthy in the NFL. But
yeah, the league is brutal. I can tell you that.
yeah.
The league is definitely brutal.
I
The league
would
is
love
so much more different than college. Like drastically different, like complete 180. Totally different.
Well, thanks so much again, Josh, for joining us. We're brand new to this, so we're still figuring it out, but we're going to catch our groove, and I appreciate you being patient with us and all of that. But when you figure out if you're going to come back for a game this year, make sure to bang our line immediately.
Absolutely.
And get up to a tailgate. We'd love to have you. We won't make you bring your own meat, but if you want to bring your salmon, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to bring something.
All right, brother. I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Tuned into Tailgate Talk, where the food is cold and the drinks are warm. We got me, DB Cooper. Beside me, we got Itty Bitty Ute, my co-host, and producing, we got Hollywood on the grill tonight. You just got done listening to the Josh Nurse interview. Itty Bitty, what are your thoughts?
Man, that was crazy. Well, I mean, first of all, you could only get that here with us. Those kind of stories, and that's what I enjoy as a fan. I love the X's and O's. I love all that stuff. But hearing a kid that came, up through JUCO, came to Utah, it's such a cool story, especially that recruiting trip, right? I mean, that guy spent all weekend at Boise State. He was ready to go to Boise State. Just so happened to have a layover and was like, hey, why the hell should I? And I might as well just go visit Utah, and spent an hour with Scally and literally just toured the facilities for an hour. And was like, that's the place. I'm coming here. And we had a starting corner that went to the NFL because of that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that he's from a different part of the country too, came a different route. The JUCO, just like unheard of. It goes back. I tweeted this a couple weeks ago. What I love about the University of Utah football program specifically is how diverse it is. You got every walk of life from every path. You got high 4-star recruits to no star recruits. They're all contributors. You got guys from Georgia and Florida to, Orem, Utah, and everywhere in between. And you just got so many walks of life. And Josh kind of took us into that, and I enjoy that.
And a perfect example of what Coach Witt is known for is taking great athletes and turning them into defensive studs that go into the NFL. And it's such a great recruiting tool for any athlete, right? To come to the U and turn around and have a great career.
I thought it was pretty cool. We talked about like the preparation, and I feel like that's where we stand out compared to most schools is the prep work. And Kind of interesting about the locker room ahead of time. You know, I would kind of pick, in my mind, there had to be a coach that was a hype guy, but like you said, it makes sense. Everyone preps differently, and we got to respect it. Kind of crazy.
Sure. Yep. Pretty sweet interview. I look forward to Josh being a recurring guest. He said he would come on again, so I look forward to that and diving deeper into his story because he gave us a lot of good info and a lot to be excited about. But I would love to hop into today's games if that works for you guys.
Yeah, that's great.
Sweet. I know what's going to be on top of everyone's mind is Kansas State, Iowa State, game of the day. There's a lot to talk about there, but I got to say one thing before we get into that game. I am like a moth to the flame when it comes to our boy, Jalen Glover, the Jag himself. I can't get enough of him. I just want to watch him. I just want to see what he's doing. I just want to follow him. I still follow him on all the social medias. I couldn't get enough of that UNLV game today. I was watching it on YouTube. It was like 25 frames per second. It was so choppy. I watched every snap because I just want to see now number 20, and he's rocking dreadlocks, which is pretty cool. But I want to see what the Jag is doing. And he put up, we just have to have a Jag watch throughout the season. I will be paying attention. I will watching. For those that don't know, the Jag stands for just a guy, made famous by our boy Steve Smith. And there is no one that signifies they're just a guy more than Jalen Glover. Not horrible, not anything special. He's just a guy. His stat line today, 7 carries, 28 yards for 4 yards a carry. That is like his career numbers. That 4 yards a carry is just about where he sits. Just a guy. Jag watch. UNLV got out just in time. They almost dropped that game, dude. Dan Mullen might have been on the hot seat after one game if they lost to Idaho State.
Could you imagine? The 10-0 start, dude. Got me feeling it. Well, my par 3 picks was that game, and that did not hit. However, I am going to use a lifeline here because the site that I use didn't have that option. I couldn't bet on the UNLV Idaho State game.
You're 0-1.
So
you're 0-1 on the season.
The 2 bets that I placed was a teaser with Iowa State, Kansas State. Iowa State covered.
Oh,
and then, of course, my Kansas Stanford. Kansas covered.
You listen to me. You listen to me. I don't care however you do this. It doesn't matter. You're 0-1. You made money.
You won money. You lost.
Money. I won money.
That's fine. People that listened, our listeners that told you that their websites did work properly, they lost money today because of you. You are 0-1. You do not take 1-0.
At the end of the day, itty bitty Ute is up money, and I'm using my lifeline
at the expense of his listeners.
There's no lifeline. You're 0-1
because I didn't have the option to. Okay, I didn't know that when I made the bet.
But what about our listeners that did? And they followed you. They said, I'm going to tell Itty Bitty's teaser.
Hey,
R3 teaser.
I will say I did not hit that side of the bet, yes. But the ones I did, I hit. I did cover. I went okay, fine. I went 2.
Congratulations for making money but losing everyone else money. Congratulations.
Send us your Venmos and Itty Bitty will reimburse you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jamie, can we get some reimbursement checks? Jamie? Unbelievable.
Insufficient funds.
Yes. I did not see Idaho State hanging with them and throwing double screens to score and go up 10-0. So I apologize. I will lock it in for my next par 3 of the week. But I think me and DB kind of saw a vision with Iowa State, and they handled their business. It was a fantastic game. Couldn't ask for a better game to start. I was with DB with the whole I don't want rivalry games in Dublin, Ireland, but it was kind of sick. And I don't know.
Other than you couldn't see where the yard markers were.
That was a little painful. You can tell it was a soccer
I got thoughts on that. I enjoyed not being able to see the lines. It made me feel like I was back in Little League football when you're the third team on the field. It's been raining all morning and there's no lines out there. That was fun. I want Utah to play in Ireland. I do not want it to be. I would rather play like an ACC team, like a non-historical. I want to go over there for a game that'd be fun, but there was no feeling that game was that's the Big 12's second biggest rivalry game behind the Holy War. There was no feeling of a rivalry game. Unlike my co-host Itty Bitty Ute, if you've tailed my picks from episode 1, you're 2-0, and you made money. Unlike if you tailed Itty Bitty's picks today,
still made money.
So I had Rocco Beck plus over 1.5 throwing touchdowns. He hit that halfway through the third quarter, untouched, sweat free. That's as good of a bet as you can have. And then
we didn't talk about odds on that. What odds were you able to get on that opening up?
That's right. They opened up at plus 110. So I'm pumped about that. We're going to follow that all year. That's now 19 straight games Rocco's throwing for a touchdown. So yeah, that was a sweat-free bet on the over 1.5 throwing touchdowns. And then I had Iowa State plus 3.5. And I will say, when it's the first bet of the year in week 0, and you're staring down a possible backdoor losing by the hook, there were a couple times where I thought Kansas State was going to win by 4, which means we would have lost the bet by half a point, which in betting terms is losing by the hook. I was curling up in a fetal position because I've seen it so many times. I was getting ready to cry myself to sleep tonight, but lo and behold, we did not have to. Iowa State pulled it through. My boy Matt Campbell looks exactly like my friend Davis Emery. Shout out Davis Emery, you ugly son of a hate you. And the Cyclones did it. That's all I got on the game today on my bets. Congratulations for tailing, and congratulations, you listener, for making you money.
I love it. One thing that I don't know if you were paying attention. Go ahead.
Again, before I was rudely cut off, you could see the pain in Jamie's eyes when there was a word that was not a word. There's multiple words being flown around, and I love it. I love seeing pain in your eyes, Hollywood.
This is what it does to me, pal. That's why I have to wear these glasses.
Just side note on the Farmageddon, love how they were aggressive going forward on 4th down. No one was settling for a punt there. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. A lot of debates there, but I love it. Sets the tone for the rest of the year. That was money.
Well, and for those of you that were listening to the interview, I don't know if you could see me looking to the left, but we were recording this interview during the Hawaii-Stanford game. And the teaser that I had this week was Iowa State plus 10, Kansas minus 5.5, and Stanford plus 9.5, which looked like it was in doubt until Hawaii's quarterback, Alahado, went down, rolled up on his knee, and then that kind of changed the course of the game. Stanford was able to come back. Hawaii wins in walk-off fashion with a field goal. Great game, but unfortunately was during the interview with Josh. And so obviously we were focused more on that conversation than the game, but I made money this week too.
All 3 made money then. That's what you're saying.
We all 3 made money, but for the listeners, if you told me, you made money. If you told Hollywood, you made money. If you told Itty Bitty, you lost money. Is that correct?
That is correct. His Venmo is... Just kidding.
Yeah, we can get that out there.
Yeah, put it on the tab.
I want to say something beautiful about college football that is so stupid that I hope they never change. I hope this is never week 1. Well, week 0 makes no, like calling it week 0 makes no sense. What is week 0? But like, that's just one of the things you got to love about college football. We call it week 0. It doesn't make any sense. Like, try to explain that to somebody that's not familiar with sports. Good luck explaining it. I love it. I hope they never change it.
Yeah.
Week 0 forever.
It's like explaining a tie in football. I will say this has been one of the best days for me sports-wise. Just a little side note, my son had his first win ever with his tackle football game.
Huge.
First touchdown ever on a naked bootleg. Just an all-around great day. And then to cap it off, talking with you guys and interviewing Josh Nurse. I mean, I don't think I've had a better sports day in my life. So I appreciate that.
Hey, happy to be alongside with you, bro. That he's already scored more touchdowns than you ever did, so that's huge.
That's what I told him. I sat. I'm not joking. You. I sat him down. I said, "Dude, you're already leagues ahead of your father." No.
I mean, I wouldn't tell many people that. Maybe we should cut that one out. But
All right, so I got a completely random tweet that I wanted to share on the podcast and get your guys' thoughts. Do you guys remember Sister Jean from Loyola Marymount?
Oh yeah.
Back in the March Madness, what was that, like 2018 or something? She was like their
smoke show.
They're fighting live mascot. Well, she turned 106 this week.
Jeez.
Happy birthday, Sister Jean, for turning 106.
Happy
This tweet
birthday.
comes from at Raider Tie 92, Texas Tech fan. At Raider Tie 92 tweeted this. Now, Loyola Marymount's it's Sister Jean, so it's a Catholic school, right? Do you think Jean ever contemplated what it could have been like to have her back blown out even once? Not trying to be disrespectful. You just have to figure the intrusive thought has have to crept in there at least once in 90 plus years, right?
Well, and you think about that tweet comes from the school of one of my all-time favorite memes of the Red Raider bell ringer.
Oh, yeah. The bell ringer's nice.
Yeah.
They're little horn dogs down there.
They really are.
What'd you guys eat today for your Week 0 kickoff? Anything special?
Yeah, we went brats. So we talked a little bit about brats last time. How do you guys top your brats? I'm a spicy mustard and either onions or no onions, but I'm just plain and simple. Those are my two that I top it off with.
Yeah, the only rule I have for brats is no ketchup. I like ketchup, but I like to kind of be a little bit of a purist, and it shouldn't go on a brat. I just go straight mustard.
I never had a brat until the tailgate, so I'm second DB, just mustard only.
But you're used to the shape.
Oh yeah. That thing sides down easy, but
Drew just spits on.
Yeah. Well,
you don't.
he does.
You don't.
Spit on that thing.
Hawk Tua, spit on that thing. Well, listen, one thing that we talked about Josh after the fact that didn't make it on the interview was the fact that he and I, when he comes to Utah for the game, will be at our tailgate and teaming up with me to take on you two to see what kind of challenge we can bring on the cornhole. I'm excited for that.
You could get God himself, and I wouldn't be scared.
Thanks for listening today. Appreciate it. Next episode we'll preview Utah season. We'll be dropping an episode. Our next episode will be right before the UCLA game. So we'll preview Utah season, get some predictions on the season, maybe some Heisman winners, things like that. But that's it for this episode. I've had a lot of people ask how they can help. How can I help? How can I help? Let me tell you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. Share with a friend. Say you got the best tailgate around. And share this podcast. We love you.
That's it for this episode of Tailgate Talk, hosted by DB Cooper and Itty Bitty Ute. Produced by Hollywood. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your tailgate crew. Join us next time for more sports talk, food, and fun. Until next time, keep the grill hot and the stories hotter.